Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you the final checkout video of a really cool crystal telephone. Now this is Irish crystal, and it has Ireland on it. And it also has a company that probably basically built the telephone, the components and the board and everything. The telephone part of it was an English company from England. And so basically this is Jennifer's telephone from California. And I'm not sure how Jennifer acquired this telephone, but she had wrote in a letter that we talked about in the initial checkout of that the telephone worked, except for you could not dial out. It had no dialing. And I think Jennifer probably thought that this telephone was touch tone. And in the initial checkout, I knew that there was some age on this telephone, and I'm kind of familiar with the main PC board that was in this telephone because we work on telephones every day. So, you know, I've seen them before and worked on them, but, you know, you only see these these boards or this specific board in a few models over the years. And so and I hadn't did my troubleshooting yet. So in the troubleshooting process, I found that this telephone actually was a pulse. It looks touch tone because of the square touch tone keypad, but this telephone is from an era and from a company that was still producing telephones in the pulse mode, but yet looked like they were touch tone. And I'm going to explain a couple of things here. What would have been a tone generator IC circuit here and IC, turns out that it's just a pulse generation circuit. And you can kind of tell that after you troubleshoot it, just for the simple fact that there's no crystal on this circuit board to clock any or help out with the, not only to clock the IC, but to create frequencies with. And so really what happens here is this is just a pulse chip. Now somebody knew that this telephone did not work because the IC chip in this is an oddball IC, and there's a drop of solder on this pin here because somebody took this IC chip, and I'm going to remove it here real quick. Someone removed this IC chip from another circuit, probably something similar, and actually I can see the solder on the legs where it was desoldered and put on this board here. And they broke a leg right where they put the dab of solder to try to get it to connect to the socket, the IC socket. So not only is there leftover solder on the legs, they broke a pin. Well, the problem with that is this is not the IC chip that went to this telephone. Now, it may have matched. I don't know where they got it and who worked on it or what they did, but it's an oddball chip. And this telephone board and the main PC board was designed to be able to replace the IC chips in it. And so this IC chip would not have been hard soldered to the board. So that tells me that somebody took this chip out of another circuit. And I checked this chip, and it's an oddball chip, and it wouldn't do any good to search this chip down, because after you did, even if you could find this older style pulse dialing generation chip, it wouldn't do you any good because you'd still be dialing out in pulse. And I really don't think Jennifer thought that this was a pulse telephone. She probably thought it was a touch tone like anybody would. And I even did it first before I troubleshooted it and looked it over after the initial checkout. So we did away with this. Circuit. There's no sense in having it. It would only dial out and pulse anyway for her, and so it wouldn't do any good to waste a lot of time looking for an IC chip that would work in this circuit. And not only that, you would have to make sure all the other components were good as well, and so it was a waste of time to even bother with this. Now, another thing, I think I somewhat remember Jennifer in some conversation with her. She was kind of concerned that anybody would be able to repair this telephone and want to be able to take on this job. And my answer to that is, this is an everyday occurrence for us here at the shop. And so if I had an easy repair, I think I would get bored. And because everything we do always seems to have some kind of some kind of a problem, or there's always an issue. So, repairing these telephones, no matter what kind we repair, there's always an issue, and sometimes there's multiple issues. So this is just another day and another telephone for me. And so now Jennifer can rest assured. We don't have any, problem digging into these and repairing them. So what we did was, since everything else worked, and there was 2 boards in this telephone, and I'm going to show you a little later after we do our final checks. Since there was 2 boards in this telephone, there's a main PC board that takes care of your transmit, receive, hook switch, and your ring circuit. And so all that was fine. What we did was I installed another tone generator circuit into this keypad, and now we do have touch tone. So she doesn't have to worry about this telephone dialing out in pulse. It dials out in tone now. So we're fine. Everything has been taken care of. And I do have the base loose from the telephone, but we're going to do our final checks now, and I'll walk through with the other boards and show you what's going on. First, we want to ring the telephone. I'll let that go a couple times. I'll give it one more ring. Give you some dial tone. Now, the dial tone, in other words, the receive and the transmit that this telephone has is original to the telephone. This is the way it was, and it's working off the original board, which is the second main PC board. So anyway, now what we want to do, since I gave you some dial tone here, is I want to walk through our numbers. So if you watch the analyzer, you're going to see all these numbers fire. Hang up, give you dial tone, walk through them one more time. I'm going to end in a 2, and I'm going to transmit. So if you watch that red indicator light on the analyzer, every time that light turns red, you'll see that that's 100% modulation on transmit. So we know that this telephone rings, we know that it transmits, and we know that it receives. So now let's take the telephone and move it over into a regular telephone line. And we're going to call a couple of numbers with this telephone. I'll give you some dial tone. And we'll call, like, say, a time and temp.
Good afternoon. Our body shop can repair almost any make and model for less. Offenburg, Belleville, 234-0330. Today is Saturday, December 3rd. The time is 5:33. Current temperature 63 degrees. Now the weather forecast for the Belleville area.
Warmer today, mostly cloudy skies, highs around 60. A chance of rain this evening, lows around 50. Mostly cloudy on Sunday, highs around 50.
Okay. So now what we can do is I will call my number, and it'll be busy. Okay. Another number we can call is, say, like Walmart. We know they're always there. Give you some dial tone.
Thank you for calling Walmart.
See if they answer. Might be on break.
Thank you for choosing Belleville Walmart Supercenter. You can save money a little better. How may I help you?
How you doing today?
Fine.
Hey, listen, do you guys still have some swimming pools out?
No, we don't.
I wanted to make an ice skating rink. It's getting that cold, you know?
Oh, cool.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Just like a puddle of water.
I think we're going to have a blizzard tonight.
Are we having a blizzard?
I think so. Look outside.
It's snowing outside?
Well, it might start.
Oh, I was going to say, don't adjust me now. You're going to have to run into the door. I'm at work.
Okay. Well, you know what? Thanks for your help. I'm going to tell them to give you a raise.
Okay. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye now. Okay. So we know the telephone works, and Jennifer should be pretty happy about this because this is the larger crystal telephone, and it has some major countries that's behind this: England, Ireland, Irish crystal. So it's a pretty cool telephone, and it's one of the larger ones, and it's got some weight to it. So it still is from an era where they were building quality items. And so what we want to do now is I want to unplug the telephone line, but I want to pick the telephone body up, and I kind of want to show you the body of the inside here. What we have here is what we reconstructed on the inside and redesigned. We installed a touch tone board in here, which is a tone generator basically, and so that allows you to have touch tone. And unfortunately, since there's no way to mount it, and they didn't have any kind of a mounting situation, the keypad is put in with hot glue. And so since they did that from the factory, we hot glued our board in. There wasn't much we could do. That's just the way it goes. You got to do what you have to do. Another thing that we did, when they have all these plug-in type connections on these boards, and you're shipping the phone or just moving it around the house or whatever, I like to hot glue these connections, because what they are is plug-in connections. And so I hot glue them so they can't fall out or fall off. And we also touched or installed the new touch tone generation board the same way they had this board installed. And that was the same contacts that they used for this board here. So now you have a board that had all of its transmit, receive, and the ring circuit on this main PC board here, and then we have our touch tone board, which is our touch tone circuit is up underneath the keypad like it was before. So now the telephone is finished up. And so basically we kind of hybrid the board the way it was to begin with. And now Jennifer can use this every day, and she will have good transmit, receive, and she'll be able to dial out and touch tone. So we're going to go ahead and set the telephone down now, And if I have that sitting on that properly, when I plug this in, it won't seize the line. And it did seize the line, so I need to make sure I get the hook switch down. And we will ring the telephone one more time. I'll let that go one more time. Give you some dial tone. And I'll go ahead and go through the numbers one more time. End in 2. If you watch the analyzer while I'm transmitting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hello, hello. So we know everything is working, and the telephone is finished up, and it's ready to go back to its home with Jennifer. And it's just a great telephone. It's it's a crystal telephone. It's pretty cool.